So you've seen the thumbnail, gives away where we're going with this one, so let's not chat, let's get on with it. So, welcome back to Recycled Model Railways. I'm Paul. So on this one, we've got a lot to do. I'm going to make all these Triang hopper wagons look somewhat better. I'm probably going to do this as a two-part video because there's a lot. I've got 13 wagons and a lot to do. So let's stop waffling and get on with it. Here's the wagons that we're going to do something with. You've seen them on a previous one when I was buying them all. So they are old Triang double bogie operating hoppers. As you can see, I do that to the camera. Well, I have no wish to have them as operating, but we're going to put these to use. So I've done a little bit of research. I have found some vehicles that are very similar looking that ICI used to operate. One of the things they did was deliver limestone from the North Yorkshire Mowers to British Steel at Redcar, apparently. So I've ordered some limestone to go inside of them. I've been on eBay and I've bought some short wagon buffers. I can't remember the guy's name. I'll look it up when I'm producing this video and tag it on the bottom of the screen. But you got 20 buffers in a pack. So here's my 13 Triang double bogie hopper wagons, and we're going to see what we can do to make them look a bit more realistic. So one of my subscribers, thankfully pointed out that these are from the Triang Continental range, which is apparently why they don't come with any buffers on the end. So first things first, we're going to correct that. I've been on eBay and I've found a guy who's producing resin printed long and short buffers, round head, oval head, and even square. And I think it's about £4 something for 20 buffers. That's a hell of a price. They all have an indent on the back so you can drill a hole in to fit them on, which gives them more strength, obviously. Now, I did used to get my buffers from Rusty Rails, and the only issue I had with them was you just had to glue them on, which were fine, but if your glue didn't get a good go, they would knock off easy. Because these have got a pin on the end to go into the chassis, I'm guessing that's going to make them a bit better. So that deals with the buffers. We've ordered, well actually what have I ordered? I've ordered long round head, short round head, long oval, short oval, and what was the other ones? I'm trying to think. There was 4 types, can't remember. I didn't get the rectangle one because that's more modern stuff. But anyway, basically, I have got 612. I think I've got some like 240 buffers coming, which I know sounds a lot, but if you think about this, 4 to each one, there's 56 just for this project. So I can't do 3D buffers on mine because mine's not a resin printer, it's a filament printer, and it doesn't like doing anything too small. So we've sorted the buffers. The wheels are the typical crappy Triang wheels that are plastic, very wide, big flanges. I mentioned last time, I'm just going to cut these off. I have a lot of non-shouldered and shouldered bearings, and what I'm going to be doing is, mentioned again previously, I ordered some stuff off Temu, and there I deliberately got some small ones. So we're going to see if the Temu small ones are any good. It says they are HO wheels, so that's great because it fits the track. It's whether how short the axles are, because as some of you may know, the Triang axles are quite long and they're driven in through the side of the axle box. So we might have to push our bearings in quite a lot to nip them up. But that's that. Obviously, these couplings, we've got the decoupling here, and then we've got that kind of coupling on there. These are all coming off, and we're going to go to magnetic couplings. So then we'll be turning our attention as well to the opening doors. So they're all going to get the rivets drilled out, and then we'll fill the holes. We will pack the holes at the bottom with plastic card, and then we will then be addressing these open frames. There weren't open frames on the photographs I've seen, which got ACI written on. We're going to close this frame in, and then they kind of have a piece coming this way. So we'll be doing that as well. So once we've actually got it to that stage where everything's been modified, or in some cases repaired because we have got some damage, then they're going to get a coat of grey primer, and then I've got to decide on the colour. I have found some colour photographs, and I know that I think it was Hattons did a reproduction of them in ACI, but I just can't figure out what the colour's supposed to be. It either looks like a very, very light grey, and in some other pictures it looks like a very, very light blue. It's kind of all over the place where they are, but I do want them to look as, or appear as, ACI wagons, because there will be a lot of nods to ACI on my layout, mostly because when I was brought up in Billingham near the ACI plant. You will do that first. We're going to drill them all out, and then once I've drilled them all out, I'll bring you back. But I'm not going to bore you with sitting here drilling rivets out. I'm sure at some point in most people's lives they've drilled rivets out. So we're going to crack on, get them done, come back to you. Right, so where have we got to since the last clip? Right, we have now removed all of the couplings, and we have also removed the gates at the bottom, as you can see. So removing the gates was simply a matter of just drilling the rivet heads, but then once I drilled them, I let the drill go through to make a slightly bigger hole, just because I wanted to, no real reason. And then with regards to removing the bogies, if I can get this, hang on a minute, because I need to put my glasses on to see what you can see. So, I don't know, but the bogies, all I've literally done is the coupling is attached to the end of the bogie, and it was riveted through. So I've used the same drill that I used to take the loading doors off with, and drilled into the actual hook attachment and gone straight through. So I've now got a hole that passes all of the way through the end of the coupling. So what was the point of that? So my idea is that when I come to fit my magnetic couplings, I'm going to jam it in. There's obviously there's a slot there where the old hook and catch were. So I'm going to jam mine into there. The hole on the sides gives me the ability to glue in from here and glue in from there, which gives me more, more holding power, if you like. So I've all of these that you see here on the bench, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of them, 9 out of the 13. Other than removing the wheels, are ready to go to having the wheels cut off. However, we do have 4 that have got problems. Now, most of these had problems before I started, and one of them I created. Very clever, Paul. So, this one here has got a piece missing right there, and somehow on the end of this, I don't know if you can see that, but these have been broken and they are staggered that way, not level. So what we're going to have to do is cut these off. We need to lengthen this and then brace and put extra bars in before we do anything else, so that it looks like this end. So that was, just a damaged one. This one was already loose anyway, so the hopper would come off the frame. However, it's got quite a lot of damage as well, as you can see. It's missing there, there and there, so we need to build all of that up to get it back into the correct as it should be, and then we can drop the hopper back on and glue it in place. Right, next one. This red one has got an arm missing here, going down there, but other than that, it's fine. So, easy fix. And then this one. Can you see what's wrong with it? Previously, there was nothing wrong with it, apart from the fact that Clever Boy here broke that off. That was when I was trying to take off the hook. It was the first one I picked up, and yes, I learnt a mistake by it. I was trying to force it off, force the hook off, and to my utter surprise, this just completely snapped off that. So that should be a relatively easy fix, because it's just a matter of getting it back into position. I'm going to use some of the plastic weld, which I'm hoping will be sufficiently strong enough to put it together. However, what will help it is the fact that we are going to sheet this over. So by the time I put a sheet on here that'll go right under that hopper side, it's going to give us more strength, it's going to give more structure, and then we're going to have the piece that drops down from the top to the bottom. So we should have a lot more secure front end. Why has it happened? Well, pretty much because I'm heavy-handed, but at the same time it didn't take a great deal of force. So I tend to wonder if part of this hasn't happened because the plastic is probably now around 60 years old, and I don't know if it's just getting a little bit brittle. Right, so when we've took the wheels off, the main next thing then is to do something with this internal where the hole is. So it's going to be rough and ready. I don't need it to look fancy because you're not going to see it. We're going to add weight to all four sides of this wagon. I'm going to try and put them all so they finish at the same level. The idea being is I could use the top of that level to put a piece of card on the top, because clearly I don't want these completely full of limestone. They will weigh way too much. So we want a piece of card in where we can then just drop limestone on the top, and hey ho, there you go. So that's the plan. I might actually do these bits first. I might actually get that ready and do any repairs as such that I need to do before I cut the wheels off, because the wheels is the last thing. And the only reason I want the wheels off is because there's no point in them being there while I'm spraying primer on. It'll just gunk them all up. So we'll get them off last, We will have to deal with this. That looks to me like it's embedded in almost. I don't think it's a transfer. So we might have to. We're going to have to get that rubbed down without trying to affect the riveting. We'll get it off because obviously I'm going to have ICI written in it. Although is it level? No, it's not. ICI. No, I can't win because of the amount of panels I put in. It doesn't lend itself well to 1, 2, 3 letters because it's that way, or it's from here to here, or from there to there. Either way, it's not in the middle, which is kind of annoying. And then once I've done the repair works and the modifications and cut the wheels off, I'll then wait till I've got sufficient buffers to put on every end, and then once they're done, they're going to get a coat of primer, and then I'm really going to have to look at these pictures I've got of these things and see what colour are they actually supposed to be to mimic what it is that I want. So there we go. I'll cut back in when I've got some of the repairs done. The bits that, this one and these 3. Now, I'm kind of annoyed because I tried to set my printer up, my 3D printer last night, so that I could print off the exact size of the framework here and for this leg there, and it won't communicate. Brilliant. So I have a choice now. I either try and fabricate out of plastic I've already got, and I know for a fact I've got nothing of that dimension there, or should I say this one, or I sit and bugger around with the printer and try and get it to work. But anyway, we'll call that it for the second, and hopefully when you come back, these 4 are not broken anymore. Okay, so we tried working on the printer, and yeah, can't get it to connect, so after wasting an hour and a half, I gave up, and I've gone back to doing it the old-fashioned way with Plastruct strip and plastic sheeting. So the wagon that had the end that fell off, that'll be this one. So I use EMA Model Supplies plastic weld, bloody brilliant stuff. Just literally, if you don't know, fuses the plastic together, and if you can see, there's no movement. So all that needed was that, because that then went in the pile of nothing wrong. So this is a concept. So as you can see inside, I got the light right, we've blanked off the bottom from underneath. Put these on the sides. The reason being is the Triang logo is embellished into the plastic. Didn't want to have to mess about. So I've just put boards on, because some wagons would have boards attached to them with the name of the company on. So we've stuck a board on in a central position, which gives me space for a nice big ICI lettering. And then we've done what we discussed about putting a flat on here. And if you can tell, let me just get that closer. This piece at the back is on an angle. That way, Paul. It's on an angle, as I've seen in the photographs that I've got. But also in the photographs, they don't have these 2 supports at the front. They have them coming from the centre downwards with angle bar. And in the middle is what I presume is an air tank, because you see pipes running off going through the bodywork down into the wheel wells for the brakes, maybe even for the operation of the hopper, I don't know. I also noticed on these there's a handle here which is moulded in. On the real life ones it's in the centre, so I might just take this one off, just sandpaper it off on both sides and create a handle in the centre yet. So I've got the basic concept of what I was looking for we've got the ends blanked out, we've got the angle piece, which I thought was a good touch, even though on this model there is a support at that level. But I quite like that. I just don't see the point in coming down here, but we will put the air compressor, the air tank on here with the pipes running down both sides. Not sure how I'm going to make this air tank right at this second. Initially thinking to myself a rather large straw with filler in it and a kind of a domed cap that I can sand over, and then the pipes will literally just be thin styrene rods. But that's the general concept of where we're going with this. So I'm happy with that so far. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sit and cut 24 of them, 24 of them, and 24 of that plate, and 12 of them, 24, 24, 24, because you need 2 of everything apart from that. So I'm going to cut 24 of everything, 12 of them. I'm going to put each one inside each hopper, and then hopefully over the course of the week what I'll do is try and sit down each night and do at least 2 or 3. It's not going to be till 8 o'clock at night before I get to it, but if I can get 2 to 3 done each night, then by the time Friday comes I should have them all at this stage, by which time my buffers I bought should be here. We can then get the buffers in, mounted on. Keep deciding whether I want to put the magnetic couplings in yet, but I don't think I do. Right now I'm interested in getting them on. Oh, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do about putting a plate in here. Now, I could rest the plate on each end because of it's being angled, but I'll need to put something across the sides just to hold it in place. So yeah, but I think before I drop that in, I'd like to spray it and have it all in grey, just for my own peace of mind more than anything. But yeah, that's where we are. So I'm not going to turn the camera on during the course of the week for the sake of doing 2 or 3 of these. You can see the basic concept, you can see what it is I'm going to do. But what I will do is when I've got them sitting in primer with buffers on, and this air cylinder and the pipework, I'll chuck it on then, just so you can get an idea of what they actually look like at the end, before I decide what colour they're finally going to be. And then that'll just leave me with wheels to change, magnetic couplers to fit in, but I've done both of those jobs before. But I will show you at least one finished, one of these complete with its badging on. So, the last time you saw me, for you seconds, for me about a week, I'd just finished putting bits of extra plastic on and what have you to the models. So, let me show you where I've got to now. So, we've now filled the tops in. So in case you're wondering how's that in place, what I've done is use some of the alloy wheel car weights you can buy off Fleabay, and we've used them in prominent positions to help support this piece of card. So as you can see, it's not going nowhere. So we've done that. We've added buffers onto the ends. We have 3D printed these brake cylinders. One goes on each end. I was going to craft it. I'll show you, for those of you who wondered where I was going to start. I bought this stuff out of Peter's Spares, just some plastruck tubing, and all I was going to do was cut it to length, glue it on, fill it up with some kind of filler so I could get the domed effect that is actually on the top of them. I don't know if you can make that out, but there's a slight dome there. So I was looking to get, that was how I was going to manually do it. The reason I was going to manually do it when I'm sitting on a 3D printer, because my computer wouldn't connect. So we got it running, we've printed them off. We have also printed off you can see on the side there, little hand wheels, one on each side. They do have a little handle sticking out of them. Don't know how long that's going to last though, because they're very fragile, and even handling them, I've knocked one hand. There's supposed to be two handles. One's gone on that side, one's gone on that side. So how have I managed to get on with stuff? The couplings. I do want to talk about couplings, and I'm just going to put my glasses on so I can actually see better. So there's the bogie, okay? Now these are the typical Triang bogies. There's a slot in the middle of this metal, and then you have a rivet goes through to hold the hook on. So I drilled them out. I think I said that earlier in the video. I drilled them out, and then I cleaned out, and then on the side, I don't know if you can see that little grey circle up here, I drilled that bigger on each side. And what I found was that if I've got here the Hornby Buckeye couplers, and what I found was that they fitted in sideways perfectly. I had to cut them off a little bit because they were a little bit too long, so I cut them off, and then I put some super glue in first, slid it in, put a bit more glue, activator, and then fill the little holes on each side with more super glue and spray it again, and they're perfect. So if you're thinking about doing Triang and changing to a magnetic coupler, I can't suggest an easier option than that. Is literally cut your old hook out, drill a bigger hole on each side, get a magnet, cut the end off where it would normally ping out the back side of the box, get it glued in. Another thing you will see, I have got the wheels off now. Here's a tip for you. So when you're taking these wheels out, two things you've got to remember. Number one, the axles go from side to side. They're very long axles, okay? So what I generally do is stick a cutting wheel on the Dremel, slice through them. You can go all the way through, but what you've got to be careful of is when you go through, it'll snag on the frame. So I generally go so far through and then use a pair of decent cutters and just snip the last bit. That's to get the axle in half. But here's the important part. When you are trying to take the wheels out, because they have such big flanges around the wheel, they get caught on the chassis frame. So as you're trying to pull them out, they want to catch. So the easy way I do that is tip your wagon this way, with your side cutters, cut the top of the wheel off, completely off, all four, and then spin the wheel so that that flat you've just cut off is sitting at the bottom, and then pull, comes out great. If you try and do it any other way, you will break the bogie chassis, and remember that these are cast metal, they're fragile. Sometimes you will break them no matter what. That one's okay. This one isn't. This one broke while I was actually cutting the wheels off. I didn't catch it or anything, it just gave. This one, you can see, is about as straight as a dog's hind leg. It's got a bit of a kick out on it. So I'm going to apply heat to that. No, sorry, that one. I'm going to apply heat to that and just gently bend it back in. Do not try and straighten it with just a pair of pliers, because you know what's going to happen? Ping! It's gone. It's knackered. So I could straighten that out, but it still leaves me with a problem on this side. Now, I can't remember if I put in the video, but I've already replaced one complete bogie because it just shattered. So I've looked through my spares, see what I've got, and all I did was drilled out this rivet, pulled the bogie off, and then I got a small M4 bolt, glued it inside there so it's sitting on its head sitting on this plastic, spaced it out with washers through the frame, put this on, another washer or two, and then a little nut, tighten back on. Easy to shift. Yes, you can argue that they're not the same bogies. Okay, if you want to be that pernickety, don't do what I'm doing. Because at the end of the day, when you're dealing with old Triang stuff, like I said, the bogies are brittle. So if you don't want to be left with two bogies that are not the same, and I'm not talking blatantly obvious, you've got to get up close. But if you want to don't want that kind of thing, don't do this. Go and buy new stuff. It's that simple. But if you want to have some cheap wagons and you don't mind putting a bit of effort in to get them to look a little bit better, this is how you do it. So, there you go. You've had an update there. I am going to call this the end of this video because I still have a fair bit of work to do yet. So, what have I got left to do? I've got to put an air pipe that goes, well, I've got to put vac pipes on the front ends. Then there's a pipe comes off that, runs through the body side, and then goes to the back vac pipe. So I've got to do that 13 times. Then I've got to refit all the wheels. So that'll be fun on its own because I've got 104 wheels. No, 104 non-shouldered bearings to put into the bogies and then fit, wait to work it out, 52 new wheels I've got to fit. So I've got all that to do. I have literally, before I've started recording this, just finished setting up my own transfers for these. They were pretty basic on this. The hat and stuff, it's white, mine are black, purely because of the fact that I can't print in white and I can't get what I want. So I have printed off a set of just ICI that will go on these sideboards that were mentioned earlier. We've got a kind of a code system here saying what it is, tonnage, and its running number on both sides, that and the ICI. And then I have also run off some of the same running number for the other end of the wagon somewhere. So yeah, so we've got to do that. Obviously, we've got to spray them as well. But I'll give you a quick little look. Don't they look better when they're in paint than when there's some god-awful colour? Do you agree? That white panel at the top on the side there just blends in, but that's where the ACI is going. But this isn't completely sprayed, so no comments. I'm spraying them upside down first, turn them, and then I'm going to go over the top and just quickly blast over the sides again. But I think if that, when I've finished, once I've got this piping, lettering and what have you, all this chassis bar is going black, as are the bogies. The rest I'm going to stay grey. I think I mentioned before, I couldn't make my mind up whether they were grey or a weird looking blue. I just couldn't make it, and I thought, you know what, so I'm just going to go with what I want. It's my model and it's how I'm going to do it. Now the only thing, if you think and show you the picture, on the ICI hop it's got two bars coming down here, and that would be to help support the weight of the top of this. Mine's got these on it on the sides here. Was there any point in putting them in? I could have, if I wanted to be really picky, so that it really looks like it. But at the same time, it'd be just a waste because these support the corner of the weight and on the corners. So, there you go, folks. I'm very happy with this. It has been quite a lot of work. We've gone through a fair amount of plastic. We've definitely got some weight in there. I think I put 10, 15, 30, 40 grams in each wagon. So they have got a bit of weight because before zero weight. So, if you like what you've watched, if you think you learnt something, or if you just sat there and laughed your head off and thought, what a clown you are, then do you know what? Come back to the channel. You might have a laugh next time. You might learn something else next time. The next video on these wagons will be quite something, because I'm going to properly, I don't normally like videoing while I'm working, mostly because I swear a lot. But I'm going to close in next time when we're doing these non-shouldered bearings, where you can see how I'm putting them in, how I'm keeping them in place, etc., etc. You'll see the final finished paint job on them, the transfers on them, so that, like, we're going to take it from, if you can imagine this without all the white bits attached to it, and, you know, buffers, we're going to take it from being what looked like a kid's toy to something that, in my mind, can go running around any layout and look pretty damn realistic for a low cost. I don't know what the Hattons ones cost, and I know they'll look way better than mine, but when these are whizzing around your railway, are you going to be looking at that finer detail? You might, because you might be that type. I won't be. I just want something that resembles what it was. There's a certain amount of artistic license going on, yes. At the same time, I am not trying to be prototypical. I'm not that much of a river counter that I want it dead on. Although all my numbers for these wagons are correct, I did look them up, because I didn't know what they would appear as. I had no idea. So I have looked them up. I've done a bit of research on them. So the numbers will be correct. I know what running numbers they started from, and then when they stopped, before these things were actually shortened in height. So there you go. I'm sorry it's been a long one, but I hope you've enjoyed what you've been watching. If you did, and if you want to see part 2 and you're not already subscribed, click that button. You know the one, the red one. Click the button so that you can catch me next time, because otherwise you might just forget which channel it was you saw the idiot messing about on and have to try and figure it out. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for my latest new subs, always appreciated. I am getting closer and closer to 1,000 subs, which I never thought I'd get to. And when we get there, I am going to give away a gift. It's already with me. It's been with me for quite a while, and when I bought it at the time, it doesn't fit with my era. It's much newer. But I decided that what I was going to do was keep it, make sure it's running and fixed and everything else. I know it doesn't run, but I know why. So it'll be a Class 156 2-car DMU. It's got regional railways on it. I'm going to give that away. When I hit my 1,000, I'm going to get one of them random people generator type things, and that'll be a gift, my way of saying thank you for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. Right, I'm going, because I'm waffling and I shouldn't be. See you next time. 2 weeks as usual. We'll see you again to finish this project. Bye for now, folks. Thanks for watching.